friends with benefits, or not. Freudian slip.
That's funny.
No strings attached.
Welcome to Rom-Com Vom, a sex ed with DB podcast series where in every episode we go under the covers with a beloved rom-com, strip away its hidden toxic messages, and rewrite the script on love and sex. I'm about to get personal here, so listen up. I'm going to tell you a fun fact about me that you definitely didn't know. The lube that I use most consistently is Uber Lube. I really mean it. If you were here with me right now, I'd tell you to go over to my nightstand drawer and tell me what you see. That's right, you would see a bottle of Uber Lube. If you've never heard of Uber Lube, let me tell you about it. Uber Lube is a silky smooth silicone-based lube recommended by leading doctors, and its body-friendly ingredient list makes it widely used by people with sensitivities to lubricants. Another amazing thing about Uber Lube is that it doesn't leave a sticky residue like water-based lubes do. It lasts for a long time and doesn't stain clothing or bedding. I have 3 bottles of Uber Lube on my bedside table right now, ready when I need it. If you're someone who wants to feel more pleasure in the bedroom, use code SEXEDWITHDB for 10% off at uberlube.com. Ever since getting married to my wonderful husband, I've been thinking about ways to keep things fun and novel between us. But I, of course, want it to feel organic. I want to be able to feel sexy and comfortable in my body while trying something new. Thanks to Lion's Den, a new adventure I've been exploring is the world of lingerie. I never really was a big lingerie girl myself, but once I started trying on lingerie that accentuated my curves, felt super soft to the touch, and made me look in the mirror and feel wildly confident in my skin, that changed pretty quickly. Plus, when I searched for what I might like on Lion's Den's website, I saw models that actually looked like me. They were curvy and thick and voluptuous, and it made all the difference to see models that have my body type. Want to join me in my new lingerie chapter? Right now, you can use code SEXEDWITHDB for 15% off your purchase in-store and online at lionsden.com. Follow them on social media at lionsdenadult on Instagram and TikTok for exclusive offers, deals, and giveaways. Hello. Welcome to the final episode of Rom-Com Vom. I can't believe that we're here, but I am so excited to talk about this trash movie that we're going to get into today. I'm your host, DB, sex educator, pleasure expert, and rom-com critic, and today we are diving into casual sex contracts, horrifically bad acting, and the myth that women can't keep feelings out of the bedroom. That's right, we're talking no strings attached, and joining me today is a new friend of mine and colleague, amazing podcast person, Kate Helen Downey. She is host of the podcast CRAMPED, which is all about uteruses that hurt and the systems that fail us. And she has spent years investigating medical gaslighting. So we're thrilled to turn that lens towards emotional gaslighting in rom-coms. Hi, Kate. How are you?
Hi. It's so good to be here.
I am thrilled that you're here. Thrilled that you're here to talk about I'm just going to say it, the worst rom-coms I have ever seen.
Oh my God. It was so bad.
Like comically bad. Like somehow in the rewatch, I was like, is this a prank? Like, I understand that this is Ashton Kutcher and he was involved in Punk. So maybe there's something here where this is so bad that I just can't wait to rip it to shreds with you.
Yeah, it's just like, as a movie, I moved to LA 4 years ago, and so I am now an expert on film structure, and oh my God.
Yeah, the writing, bad. The acting, bad. The jokes, bad. And the cast is good, so it's very confusing.
The cast is really good. Every 2 seconds, I was like, oh, you're in this? Oh my God, what?
Unbelievable. It's classic 2011 kind of peak, like on the cusp of like, everyone being like, is this okay anymore? And they released it anyway.
Yeah. It was, if this had come out in 2006, I'd be like, okay.
Makes sense.
That makes sense. 2011 is like, this is too late for this.
It's like, I already was out of high school then. What's going on? Oh, God. So, okay, before we get into this, here's a trivia teaser. Stay tuned until the end of this beautiful episode to hear what exactly is going on. Before it was called No Strings Attached, this movie had a very different working title. One that was definitely not going to fly with the MPAA. So stick around to find out what it was, why this film had an identity crisis all the way through pre-screenings. I'm very curious to see what that is. And okay, No Strings Attached. Tell me, what is your relationship to this movie? When had you how do you feel about it? What kind of history do you have with this film?
I have almost no history with this film.
Okay.
I didn't see it when it came out. It was one of those like Armageddon Deep Impact movies, right? Like
Okay.
there was like
Oh yeah,
Friends with Benefits,
Yes.
which I remember as being like the better movie.
I did see that one. Yes.
I don't remember if I saw that one or not, but I do remember just like people being like, if you're gonna see one of these, see Friends with Benefits. And then I didn't.
And then you didn't follow their lead.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically no relationship. I would have to agree. I feel like maybe I saw this movie one time, but a lot of it felt new to me. Like typically with all these Rom-Com Vom films, I can recite them like with my eyes closed. But with this one, I was like, that's why I was so shocked about the horror that was this film, because I was like, I don't remember this at all. Just so many bad things happening. Bad writing, which is very confusing because, let me tell you why. Elizabeth Merriweather was the writer of this film, and she wrote Dying for Sex, which I just did a recap of because I loved that show. Yeah. And so I was like, was there growth that happened?
And she did New Girl, which is why Jake Johnson is in this.
Exactly. And she did New Girl. So it's like, what has occurred here? Maybe like the script was just so banged up and someone did kind of rewrites on it. So she's like, I can't really take credit for that. Who knows?
Right. No, I was shocked to see her name in the credits. And like, aside from the casting and the obvious like Nick Miller prototype that Jake Johnson is playing, I was like, this is crazy. But yeah, everybody's got to pay their dues, I guess. Everybody's got to
I suppose maybe that was her first. Right. Like, let's allow for growth. Okay. Yeah. Let's allow for change. We don't really know what has occurred in, maybe this was written by her college self. And she was like, maybe, and then it just didn't come out right. You never know.
Right. And you can kind of see the connection because like New Girl is a show about a woman living with like three guys trying to like figure, and like, are we friends? Are we hooking up? Like, are we in love? What's going on?
Maybe it's a precursor in some ways.
Maybe this was just sort of like a first draft at some of these ideas. And like, I'm glad it got out. Like, I'm glad that happened and then New Girl could happen. But like, I'm a big New Girl head, so.
I actually have never seen New Girl.
It's so good.
I know. I would. I just haven't made the time to binge it, and so maybe I should download it for a flight and then just kind of watch a whole first season, see how it goes.
Yeah. It's one of my comfort shows. It's like on. Yeah. I will disclose that I did, prior to this watch, I had seen exactly one scene from this movie, and it was when I was researching an episode of Cramped about media portrayals of period pain. Because there is a scene, there's one scene in here where, we'll get to it, but it's period related. And so I just watched that scene on YouTube, and I was like, that was my full impression of this movie.
Oh my God. We're going to get to that in one hot second. But here is a quick refresh, beautiful listener, if you haven't seen this film and have zero relationship with it like we do. So in No Strings Attached, Emma, played by Natalie Portman, who is a resident, she's a doctor. She's very busy. That's basically what you want. So what we have to know about her. And Adam, played by Ashton Kutcher, decide to enter a no strings attached sexual relationship. No feelings, no complications, just orgasms, right? But it doesn't go according to plan, and feelings happen, right? Like classic.
Crazy.
And as a kid, right? Like there's a segment that we have called As a Kid. If you were to watch this film as a kid, what do you think would have happened for you?
I mean, I will say the outfits are crazy, so I think I would have enjoyed that as a kid. Like, the fashion is insane. I think I would have taken, like, the way you meet your soulmate is you
pretend you don't like them.
Yeah, I would say the way you meet your soulmate is you pretend not to like them, you tell them to go away, and if they don't go away, and if they don't respect your boundaries, then it's true love.
Which is echoing pretty much every other rom-com that we saw as kids, was like, the guy needs to be persistent, and therefore they will fall in love, basically.
Yeah, like, and that there's these like walls that women have up that like men have to break down by like just doing the opposite of what the woman says they want all the time.
Yes. Yeah, and you know, just the classic in the beginning of okay, this film like is very confusing because it opens for no reason at all with them knowing each other at camp.
Yeah.
So gratuitous. We don't need to know this.
I will say though, whoever did casting for this movie nailed it on every level because those two 14-year-olds or whatever, those actors look exactly
They do look like them.
like Ashton Kutcher and Natalie Portman. It was
Correct.
like, oh, okay, for
Yeah,
the 2 minutes that we see
right.
them.
Completely irrelevant. And then they happen to see each other again at college. And then she says, like, oh, can you go to this thing with me? It's stupid. And then it's her dad's funeral. I'm sorry.
I wrote down in my notes, I have
what the fuck?
I have Natalie Portman is still riding on Garden State vibes. Because it's like, is this just like a quirky girl? Is this like what?
It's quite
like,
confusing.
She invited me to her dad's funeral. Like, what are we doing?
I don't know. It feels very irrelevant to me. I mean, all that's relevant is that we know that she has an unhealthy relationship with men, ? Because of this.
And that she's like doing inappropriate she doesn't really care what people think.
Right. She is subversive in kind of this cool girl way because she's bringing a stranger who asked to finger her when she was 14 at camp to her dad's funeral.
Who she met at who she like saw again at a frat party.
Right.
And then invited him to her dad's. It's just like, why? I don't get what she's getting out of it. Like, it doesn't, it also doesn't seem to like shock her family at all. They're just like going about their business. Yeah.
They're like, I didn't know you were seeing someone. I'm happy to debut him at your father's funeral. Very confusing. Very confusing.
Right. It's like, why? What? Did she actually need someone to be there for her? Like, didn't seem like it. Did she?
Right.
No. This is what is like, none of the choices any of the characters make any sense at all.
No, zero.
Except Jake Johnson and Greta Gerwig. Like, they're I want to watch that.
They're kind of cute. Yeah. Okay, they're kind of the side characters, the side best friends. Mindy Kaling is also in this film.
Yes.
Ludacris is in this film.
Ludacris is in this film.
We have Kevin Kline playing the unhinged dad who keeps dating Ashton Kutcher's exes. It's just Lake Bell isn't. We can go on and on. It's endless.
The casting, top notch. Highlight of the whole movie.
Right, exactly. I mean, okay, typically I ask, like, what do we like about this? What works? I'm just going to say, I don't think really most things work except for the incredible it's kind of like the Valentine's Day cast of the rom-com where you're like, wow, this has everything and somehow it's still bad.
Yes, absolutely.
Is there anything that you do think genuinely works about this film before we tear it to shreds?
I like the friendships that Natalie Portman has with her
doctor friends.
Her doctor friends and her roommate, who are like also her roommates, which I guess makes sense. But like, they seem like genuinely good friends and they're like chill with each other. And there aren't like substantive interactions between them, but they're fun to watch and they seem chill.
They seem chill. Yeah, I do like, I don't know his name, but he also shows up in an episode or two of Hacks. He plays kind of like the gay doctor roommate.
Yes.
And he's kind of funny. I think Greta Gerwig and Mindy Kaling are funny in this movie. Yeah. So I do think, like, you're right. Like, there are pieces of this that I did laugh, but once again, it was few and far between. So we're gonna fast forward now to the scene that you called out earlier, which is the period scene, because that is honestly the reason why we, as a unit, you and I, chose this film, was to discuss this scene. And so could you, I guess, describe the scene for the listener and then tell me what you think and feel about it?
So the scene starts with like no context, no preamble. The three female roommates, so Natalie Portman, Mindy Kaling, and Greta Gerwig, and then this gay male roommate are all hanging out in the living room. And apparently the three female roommates all have their periods together, are all synced up, which like can happen, I guess, if you live together, like, and work together, sure. And then, so they are all like on their periods, PMSing, like very stereotypically, just like on the couch in a blanket. Like Greta Gerwig is like telling Mindy Kaling, like, did you take your Pamperin? And they're like being bitchy to each other, like, you take your Pamperin, like. And then the doorbell rings, and it's Ashton Kutcher, and Natalie Portman's like, I told you not to come. It's not safe here. And he's like, I have cupcakes. And so they let him up. And then he has a box of cupcakes, which they devour. And even like the gay male roommate is like,
He's
also
like, give me
like,
chocolate.
Yeah, he's just like, oh, I love when we're all on our periods. He's doing like a gay
bit.
male a bit. And then Ashton Kutcher says, oh, I see what's going on here. You're all on your periods. Okay. And Mindy Kaling's like, did you Google that? He's like, maybe. And he gives Natalie Portman a mix CD that he has made her that is all songs that sort of you could take as songs about periods, like Love Lies Bleeding and or not Love, that's a movie, Bleeding Love.
Bleeding Love, and then there's like Bloody Sunday and I've Got
Wine.
the World on a String.
Yes,
I thought that one
that's
was
a good one. That's a good one. Clearly the writer's room had fun with that. And she goes, like, did you make me a period mix? And yes, he did. And then he had also brought soup over. And they are like lying in bed together.
He's like, it's good for your uterus.
It's good for your uterus.
Like, okay.
She's a doctor. She's literally
a fucking doctor, dude.
You don't need to like tell her what's good for her uterus.
Right.
And then they're singing Bleeding Love, and then they fall asleep together and they're cuddling, and that is too much.
Yeah, and they're like, she's like, I can't do this in the morning.
Yeah.
And because they have cuddled with their clothes on, which is against the rules.
Intimate. That's
too intimate. As a girl with daddy issues, no. All right, tell me now what you feel and think about this scene as someone who has used this for researching for your incredible podcast, Cramp. That's literally all about period pain and periods.
Yeah. So I'm conflicted because on one hand, any representation of periods and period pain is like, thank you, God. Like, okay, it's on the screen. They're like, it's just happening on screen, and it isn't treated as like a totally disgusting, avoidant thing. And so I'm a little bit like, yay. And then on the other hand, it's like, that's not how women behave when we have our periods necessarily. Like, yeah, sometimes if you have cramps, you're on the couch, and sometimes you're cranky, but it's like, we're not all sitting out in the living room being like, we have my period, I hate everything. Like, maybe we'll get together and watch a movie. I don't know. Like, it'll be fine. Like, and so it is definitely like playing into stereotypes of like, women when they're PMSing, women on their periods, like, aren't regular people, and it's like so hard to be around them. And he's so brave for being willing to be in the same room as three menstruating women, which sucks. And just that thing of like, she's a doctor. Like, why would you come over unless it's a joke that I don't get of like, the soup is good for your uterus?
No,
maybe
it's
that's
just
a funny joke.
No, it's not a funny joke. I think it's just supposed to. I think, similar to how I feel when I watch something that is supposed to kind of depict like, oh, this is this is really what happens, like with the syncing, right? Like syncing each other's periods with other friends really lacks the scientific evidence to show that. Later research has really debunked this, right?
Yeah. So I lived with multiple women all through my 20s, and sometimes like sometimes
you just happen to be on the
we'd
same
happen
cycle.
To like overlap, but like we didn't spend all our time together. Like, I don't know. There's a lot of shaky science about periods syncing up.
Right. And so I feel like, similar to you, I feel conflicted where I'm like, it is kind of fun and great that they are not, as you said, disgusted by the periods, but that's quite a low bar. And I really want to push this to be, like more normalized. And so I think ultimately, dare I say, this is maybe the best scene of the film, which is so funny that like we're kind of not into it, right? But
I know
it's good compared to other kinds of depictions in other films.
It's just occurring to me now that maybe there's some kind of like, oh, because they are like no strings attached and they don't have to like pretend to be perfect for each other. Like maybe that opens the door for him to like be able to be there for her in this way when she's on her period, when normally like if they were boyfriend and girlfriend, like they would not be
Oh, that's interesting.
able to do that. But also she literally tells him like she has told him
Go away,
don't come
she
over.
says. Right.
She says
he crosses
go
her boundaries
away.
so many times.
And then he's just there, and it's like, and we're supposed to be like, what a good guy. He
I
like
know.
showed up even though she told him not to, even though she explicitly said, do not come over, I don't feel good.
Yeah.
And then he came over and made her eat soup. And like
there's a lot of boundary crossing.
Yeah.
Let's talk about vacation sex. If you're like me, I bet you want a little pleasure while you're away, but can't fit your entire sex toy collection in your carry-on, huh? Say hello to the brand new Magic Wand Micro. Born into such a famous family, this little wand has quite a reputation to uphold while fitting in the palm of your hand. Same magic, now in pocket size. Use code SEXEDWITHDB at Lion's Den for 15% off your Magic Wand Micro now. First, let's get into that's problematic. So the first thing is the classic like early mid 2000s girl boss dilemma of work versus relationships, right?
Yeah.
Women can't have it all is what we keep learning. Emma is a doctor working brutal hospital shifts. She's very emotionally reserved. She's hyper independent, and she's portrayed as broken for being that way.
Yep.
And meanwhile, Adam is soft. He's available. He's emotionally in touch. Once again, his dad has just
such a like 2000 soft boy.
I know, my God. And
the more you learn about him, the more you're like, no, baby, no.
I know. And his dad is revealing, you know, his dad is a famous actor in the movie, played by Kevin Kline, who is revealing that he's dating Adam's ex-girlfriend. And, you know, I think like in general, the kind of yin and yang between them really is used to highlight how cold Emma is, right? Like she's the person who's like cutting him off, who's like kind of unwilling to go further in their relationship. And I think this is problematic because it reinforces the idea, as many of these films do, that ambitious women are emotionally stunted. They're unlovable unless they soften. And having like a high-powered career is treated as something to overcome and not something to celebrate. This was kind of similar, I'm thinking of, in like how Stella got her groove back. Like she's like a high-powered like finance woman, and she can't have it all, and she needs to go, you know, to Jamaica in order to really like change herself.
Well, it's also shown in the contrast between Emma and her sister, her younger sister,
who's getting married at 22.
22 and dropping out of school. They casually say where it's like, why do you have to do that? And I thought there was going to be some like something where it was like, oh, Emma realizes the shortcomings of like how she's been doing things, but her sister also realizes the shortcomings of how she's doing things.
Like a Mamma Mia situation. Maybe they can wait. They can travel the world at 22. Yeah.
No, she's just like, she gets married and it's fine. And it's great.
Right. She's like, Emma, I know you don't understand, but I'm in love with him. It's like, girl, you can be in love with him. Go start your career, missus. Go do your own thing. Go get drunk in Cabo with your friends.
Yeah. You don't have to drop out of college. You could get married, I guess, if you want to, but like, you don't have to drop out of
college. Right. Oh boy. Well, okay. So that's that issue. There's also, this is the most large issue I have with the film, which again shows up in so many of our rom-coms. Manipulation masked as love, right? Let's talk about that. So Adam shows up uninvited to Emma's workplace. He leaves like emotional voicemails. He kind of plays the long game, kind of quote unquote waiting for her to break down and admit that she wants more. And of course, it's framed as sweet persistence, right? Same kind of thing where towards the end of the film, Emma calls Adam and is like, Adam, I you know, might be too late, but like, I miss you. And he's just kind of like, I've moved on to hot Lake Bell, and they're pretending like Lake Bell's a nerd. You're not gonna, I'm not going to buy that. Okay.
Like, oh, isn't Lake Bell like such a turnoff because she's so neurotic? And it's
how dare you? How dare you film industry for trying to make Lake Bell seem like a nerd.
Lake Bell is the hottest person who's ever existed.
I could write a dissertation on how hot I think Lake Bell is. So it is offensive to me that they tried to make her seem such an anxiety-ridden person who's second choice to Natalie Portman. Please.
Yeah.
Please. Anyway.
No,
so
ridiculous. I also like the idea that I know this is 2011. It was before we had the term Nepo baby, but like Ashton Kutcher is a Nepo baby.
Definition Nepo baby.
His father is a like wildly famous TV actor, and he's portrayed as like he's working as like a writer's assistant, I think, on a show that is
a
Glee?
Teen show. Right. Right.
That is just straight up Glee.
Right. Or High School Musical, hard to gauge.
Yeah. And we're supposed to be like, oh my God, he's such a like good guy. He's refusing to take his father's favors. Like his father keeps being like, I'll connect you to somebody. I'll call somebody. And he's like, no. And it's like, yeah, but clearly you get favors done for you just because like you see favors being done for him at work because of who his dad is. And he's like, oh, it's so weird. It's so uncomfortable. I hate it. And it's like, you're a Nepo baby. Like, we're not, I don't know how I'm supposed to be like sympathetic to your plight right now.
Oh, they try real hard. But I do think, so, okay, we got off track because we were talking about how beautiful Lake Bell was. But when Natalie Portman's character Emma calls him at the end too, he basically is like, I've moved on. You really hurt me. Because they went on this great date and she, by the end of it, was like, I can't do this. It's too serious. And he's just like, okay, then I'm never going to see you again. So he kind of sets his boundary. And then she, his dad has, what happens to him? He does some sort of drug.
Cough syrup?
Yeah, he
ODs
on cough syrup because of Lil Wayne.
His young girlfriend is making him listen to Lil Wayne?
It's the most absurd plot point. And so Natalie Portman, even though he's like, no, dude, I'm good, comes to him and, knew that he was at the hospital and went there to profess her love against.
I thought she was going to be, because I
going
clearly
for a
like
shift
her
or
friend.
something.
Yeah, her friend clearly texts her being like, his dad is in the hospital. And I thought she was going to like show up as a doctor and be like, okay, if I can't show up for you on a personal level, I can show up for you as a doctor and like treat your father. And it doesn't happen at all. She just drives to the hospital and then meets him outside the hospital. It's like
missed opportunity.
Why wouldn't you be a doctor in this moment that his dad is sick?
God, the one time that the writers could have done something. So, okay, why do I find this problematic? It like in every rom-com, right? This kind of like manipulation masked as love. I feel like this is the most impactful negatively thing that happens in every rom-com, which is like, if you love each other, you will cross each other's boundaries in order to love each other. And I just really resent that idea.
Yeah.
Because it teaches young girls in particular that that's what love is over and over again.
Being loved means having your boundaries broken.
Yes.
Violated. That having your, and I mean, even just the way they meet, like, or the way they like get back in each other's lives after like kind of having known each other at randomly encountered each other at different times, is he's calling every girl in his phone while he's blackout drunk trying to find someone to have sex with, and he ends up at her house naked. And it turns out he had showed up, he had like said it was an emergency and then came to her house completely blacked out, then like thought he was at his house, took off all his clothes and was swinging his dick around going, look at my dick. And nobody in this house was like calling the police. This is someone that like they're not close friends with. This is like someone that she went to college with 5 years ago.
Right.
They are not friends.
No.
He called her blackout drunk, got her. Also, don't give your address to people when they call you blackout drunk.
That.
And
she's like, well, you said it was an emergency. It's like, bitch,
who cares?
Call the fire department. I am not your emergency contact.
No. And that is a pattern of like, he keeps calling her when he needs her, even though she has been like, no, we're not each other's emergency contact. We're not doing this. And like, that time and another time he's like, it's an emergency, like, come get me, come help me, and she
Right.
does.
I mean, it's just the classic thing. He even says it to her, which is just like so Vom when he's just
Mhm.
like, oh, promise me that you're not going to fall in love with me, basically. Like, oh, the
Mhm.
first one to have feelings loses, right? It's just like
Uh-huh.
always this competition. It's always this kind of like, oh, let's play these games. And, it's just,
Yeah.
it's so tired. And I
Yeah.
thought by 2011 that they would want to change their stars, but alas, they did not. And
But it's so frustrating too, because it's like this it if you zoom out, it's like this is a situation in which it, like, at the beginning, Natalie Portman is getting her needs met. She's very clear about what she wants and what she doesn't want. She's getting her needs met. Ashton Kutcher also just wants to get laid at the beginning of this movie and get over his ex. And so they are both getting their needs met. And
right,
then his needs change and she has to change to meet his needs.
right,
And we
exactly,
never get like, okay, she still has 80-hour work weeks. How's that going to work? Like,
right.
but they show her them like eating breakfast together and they're like, we're going to do this all the time. And it's like, is that what it is? That really?
I
Like,
know.
no.
I mean, it's just the classic. Like, here we're gonna show you what the beginning of a relationship is like, and
Uh-huh.
then the only thing that really shows the length of a relationship is fucking Marriage Story. So it's kind
Uh-huh.
of like, oh, quite sad, quite depressing.
Right. Right. Yeah, it's very like, yeah, it's just like at no point is there a situation where like she gets her needs met. I guess like they make it okay by having it be like she actually had these other needs that she was pretending she didn't have and now those are getting met, so it's okay.
I mean, I
But it's
think
like,
we're supposed to feel like that based on her dad dying in the beginning and her being so unhinged with bringing her dad or with bringing Adam to her dad's funeral,
right.
right? We're supposed
I
to
guess.
understand that because of this, that's why she doesn't want a relationship.
Well, and there's that conversation she has with her mom in the car where her mom's like,
I'm worried about you.
I'm worried about you. You knew that if I saw you hurting, it would hurt me. And so you didn't let me see you hurting. And like, that's a really sweet thing, a mother daughter conversation of like, yeah, like, oh, it's okay. Like, you don't have to be strong for me. Like, we can grieve together. Like, that could be
Mhm.
really nice. But instead, she's like, you should be in a relationship with that guy.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe she should go to therapy or like,
Maybe, yeah, I would say that first. And then also, okay, this is kind of tangential, but we'll get back, I promise. But then she's like trying to fuck the head doctor for a while. There's like a
that
plot point.
that
What's
made
up with that?
so little sense. This guy has a half a line in this whole movie,
Right.
and he's like a non-character. He's just
And
like,
he's the actor from The Princess Bride, by the way.
oh my god, he is.
That's that
I have
guy.
such like beard face. If somebody changes their facial hair, like I cannot tell who they are.
Yeah, so that guy's also in this film.
That's so crazy. That's Carrie Elwes.
The main dude?
Yeah,
Yeah, that
I
guy.
had no idea.
Yeah, I recognize
Oh
him
my
because
God.
he's also the boyfriend in Liar Liar. So that's all.
Yes,
I
I
was
knew
like,
that
oh,
because
that
he
guy,
has no
that
beard
guy.
in that.
Exactly, because he doesn't have a beard. I could recognize him. But yeah, I think the point that I'm trying to make with this is like they're trying to depict that like Emma is broken
Yeah.
because of her, past losing her dad at such a young age, and she doesn't know what she wants, so she's making these kind of irrational decisions. I think that was supposed to be depicted by like her trying to
Yeah.
go after the head doctor, because all of her doctor friends are like, don't fucking do that, he's our boss, like don't do that.
I guess I saw it as just kind of like self-destructive a little,
Yes,
or like a little chaotic of
right,
just like going after clearly a wrong choice for her, but
right.
yeah.
Very confusing.
Very confusing.
All right, are you ready for the third most problematic part of this
Oh
film?
my god, yes, please.
Okay, so I guess this is kind of like to heal Emma, right? There's this whole arc of like loving someone is fixing them, right? This whole idea of bitch, go to therapy. This is basically
Yeah.
bitch, go to therapy. So again, Emma's arc is essentially to like learn love like a quote unquote normal person.
Yeah.
And, she starts off by having sex on her own terms, like you said, ends up apologizing for not being
Mhm.
vulnerable enough,
Mhm.
despite her working 80 hours a week and despite her not having healed herself from her
Also, just
trauma.
like side note, I know they're like 25, 26 in this movie,
Right,
but like,
right.
was there ever a point where you could work an 80-hour work week and then also like fuck all the time?
I don't think so, but I do have some like high-powered lawyer friends who I do feel fit into this category. So
Okay.
they make time. These
Yeah.
psychopaths. I don't know how they do it, but okay, so Adam, right, is even though he's also kind of psychotic, punching walls when things don't go his way, right? He's angry.
At work.
For God's sakes, at work. But we're supposed to still empathize with him. He's seen as the emotionally healthy one who just needs to
Right.
wait it out, right?
Right.
And again, this is problematic because it treats Emma's boundaries and trauma as obstacles to be healed by romance. Again, same as you said of her mom being like, this can fix you. Like, and the same thing that her sister said, right? The night before the wedding is like, you got to go after him. Like you need to be healed basically because you love this person.
Well, and also that it happens all at once, that this kind of healing is just like a barrier to break through, and once you're on the other side, like you get to be in a relationship. It's like, you don't think that trauma and those issues that she's having with intimacy, you don't think that's gonna like be in the relationship too?
Right.
Like,
it's not just gonna disappear because she's shoving pancakes down her gullet at breakfast. Okay, listen, it's not. Oh God. And I think like the thing that I've learned after this is the 29th rom-com that I have reviewed.
I'm so sorry.
Oh yeah, I think I'm sick of it. No. But I just think over and over again, we just, from 50 First Dates, like that's literally a movie about like this person who can't have a normal quote unquote life because she forgets every day and she needs to be healed by Adam Sandler's character. Mm-hmm. Again, at another Adam Sandler movie, The Wedding Singer, where Julia Gulia is like, she's like in this terrible relationship. She has to be saved. We did Pretty Woman. She has to be saved. Like over and over again, these women are needing to be saved. And love shouldn't be a fucking rehab center where one person does all the fixing and the other gets a gold star for eventually accepting affection. Like it just doesn't make logical sense as to why this has occurred so many times. Almost 30 once again that I have reviewed.
Right. Yeah. Why is this? I mean, it's clearly the way that we have expectations about romance working. Right. That like the guy is supposed to be the one who goes and takes some action to, and I guess like in that way, like Friends with Benefits, or not. Freudian slip.
That's funny.
No strings attached. In that way, it seems like maybe it's trying to subvert it because it's like he pushes and pushes and then he gives up and then she pushes. And so like
I'm not like the other girls. Twist. That's another trope. Exactly.
Oh my God, yes.
It's so classic. We're going to transition now that we have ripped this movie to shreds into the cringe corner where we talk about one particular moment, although I swear to God I was mouth agape I was at all these moments, but I'll go first because there's an intern named Chuck or someone who works at their like on their writing staff on their show, and we see him show pictures of his penis to underage actresses in the TV show. I'm sorry.
Yes, I wrote that down too. It was so early. I got
so early in
distracted, but it's just like, what's happening?
Oh my God. There's so many problems with this moment. First of all, he's like the only Asian actor in the film. Like basically the only, besides Ludacris, which is again very bizarre.
And the girl that takes part in the threesome, which is my
yes. Oh my God. We didn't even talk about that. There's Abby Elliott from SNL and from The Bears also in this movie. Oh my God. Okay. But Chuck is like one of the few people of color side characters in the film. And he's shown as an absolute pervert who's showing pictures on his phone to underage actresses. And they're just treating it like, ew. And Lake Bell who's the boss is like, Chuck, don't make me have to take away your phone. Like, I'm sorry, this man should go to jail. Why is this being depicted in the beginning in the first 20 minutes of the film?
Yeah. Yeah. It is like tone setting of like what world we're in. And it's like, what? Also, it's a
offensive.
Flip phone and iPhone.
Why does he have a flip phone?
Ashton Kutcher has an iPhone. So it's like, why?
very confusing. But yeah, I would have to say that was the cringiest moment for me personally.
Yeah. For me, it was the threesome, which, like,
Yes.
I have so many questions.
Oh my
None
God.
of this made any sense. So, like, Ashton Kutcher has been, Natalie Portman has been like, go have sex with someone. Like, we can't see each other until we both have sex with other people because we're, like, getting too close and we need to, like, go to our separate corners for a while, which, like, whatever.
Right.
Whatever you think about that individual, like, whatever you think about that prescription for the, like, intimacy, she's basically saying, like, this is too intimate. I don't want to be this intimate. I want you to leave me alone for a while.
Right.
So he's like, oh, okay, fine. I will try to go have sex. And he, like, kind of isn't finding anybody. And then the waitress at his friend's bar and some girl that Ashton Kutcher is sitting next to, like, basically say that they love each other.
Their love for each other. They're all of a sudden making out in front of him.
And
he's
start
like,
kissing. And then Ashton Kutcher just, like, takes a picture of his face in the middle of and they, like, then are, like, kissing his face. And it's like, what's happening here? Like,
that was so bad. It's basically just, like, completely giving lesbians a terrible name and not just incredibly offensive writing for queer people.
Okay, I guess, like, at a bar, whatever, like, they're kissing at a bar, they're clearly, like, just interested in each other,
and they tell each other they're in love with each other, though. They have a very serious moment where they're like, no, I love you, like, I'm in love with you, and then all of a sudden they're immediately sexualized.
Yeah, and then, but, like, not just sexualized, like, oh, they're, because if they were making out and all the guys were like, oh my god, they're making out, it's like, okay, I guess that sucks, but it's like, that's fine. And then, but then somehow, like, Ashton Kutcher stays involved. Like,
right.
They're somehow fine with, like, kissing him.
I know.
And then they're at his house.
Right.
I guess they went to his house with him, but they're, like, they're making out and he's trying to get involved and they're like, no.
They're pushing him away.
But then, so it's like, are they just, they just told each other they love each other. They clearly are not uncomfortable. Like, it's not like, oh, there's tension here and we want to make out, but, like, we have to have a guy to, like, make it okay. It's like, you're clearly fine with making out. Why are you at his house?
So bad. So bad. Very, very, again, it felt like ChatGPT wrote it. I was just like, what the hell is this? It made no
human sense.
No, it made zero sense. Wow, that's a good cringe moment. Again, like, there's so many bad parts of this trash film that I nearly somehow forgot that one because I was so offended by everything else.
It's your brain glosses over it because it just truly, it's choices that make no sense. Yeah.
I can't process. All right, Kate, we're at the part, thank God, of the episode where we get to rewrite this garbage story. So if there is a character, a plot point, if we want to just throw this in the trash, which I say we do, and come up with a new log line, a 3-sentence synopsis of what this film should have been about, given this general idea, where is your head at? What would you want to be doing?
I mean, I feel like it would be great to have a rom-com that's like, yeah, these two people had their needs met. They, like, found each other, had their needs met. Natalie Portman helped him stand up to his dad. He helped her, I don't know, just get what she needed.
Get over her trauma, maybe considered, that she should go to therapy and helped her find a therapist, perhaps.
Yeah, and then they, like, went their separate ways. Or maybe they spent a few years casually fucking and dealing with their own shit and, working on their careers. And then they were like, you know what? I actually feel like I love you and we should be together. And that would also be fine.
Okay, so the point that you're making is there needs to be time and space for them to work on themselves and their own garbaggio that they're dealing with before they maybe, and maybe I would even go so far as to say Ashton Kutcher just gets dumped at the end.
Yeah.
Like, maybe, she's kind of like, I realize that you are really crossing my boundaries here and you're trying to make me do stuff that I don't want to. And, like, never mind. I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah. Or I think that it can be very romantic and amazing to have a person in your life who shows up for you in a very specific way that you ask for, that you want, and then doesn't try to make you be different.
Yes. Just lets you be yourself.
Yes, accepts that you have boundaries, and also, like, the whole movie starts with him wanting to just have sex, and he
Right.
gets to do that. It's not like he's not getting a need met. Like,
Right. Exactly.
it would be so great if there were room for that in our imagining of romance, that it was like, hey, you know what's romantic? Like, yeah, like flowers and like being with one person can be romantic, and also like having a person who shows up at your hospital to fuck you in the supply room and
Yes.
then doesn't ask anything else of you can also be really fucking cool and romantic.
Wow. Sing it. I really agree with that. Once again, this was a tough one. This was a tough watch. So I'm really glad that we got through it. And
Yeah.
now is the time where we get to give the film a proper rating, our post-watch rating. 1 to 5 bombs. Where are you going with this?
I'm going like 4.5.
Okay, give me your explanations. Why
'Cause
not
it's
a full
not-
5? Why not a 4? What's going on?
I think the cast is great. I loved seeing prototype Nick Miller. Like, clearly something good came out of this.
Sure.
He and Greta Gerwig, like
They have
again,
chemistry.
I want to see that movie. They seem
Yeah.
to just meet each other, like each other, and be good to each other.
Right. That should have
And,
been the main event.
Right. And so I don't think it's like total like get it off the face of the earth like Shallow Hal,
Right.
but it's definitely terrible.
I understand. I'm going Shallow Hal on it. I'm
okay.
going to 5. I just, again, my mouth was agape at just how horrendous this entire film was. And I think the reason why this movie is so crazy is because it has such a good cast and it still is such a flop.
Yeah.
So I'm putting it up there.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with it.
That's fair.
Okay.
I support you.
Do you want to hear though what the original title was supposed to be?
Yes.
So
Oh my
here we're
God.
at. Here's the deal. The original title for No Strings Attached was literally, quote, Fuck Buddies.
I was gonna guess that.
You were? Okay, shockingly, that didn't go over well with the ratings board, so it
Yeah.
got changed to Friends with Benefits, but that title got scooped by the Mila Kunis, Justin
Right.
Timberlake rom-com that came out the same year. And for a
Yes.
while,
So
this movie was
crazy.
still untitled. Even the pre-screening invites listed it either as No Strings Attached or Hooking Up.
Interesting. I am not shocked that the original title was Fuck Buddies if Elizabeth Merriweather was like instrumental in writing it, because her original title for New Girl was Chicks and Dicks.
Oh my God. Wait, so raunchy? I love that.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh my God. That's
She's
incredible.
a dirty bird. I love her.
She sure is. Okay, that is a wrap on Rom-Com Vom. Thank you so much for joining us, beautiful listeners. As we laughed, we cringed, we lovingly tore apart the rom-coms that raised us. And don't worry, we are not done for good. We will be back with a brand new season of Sex Ed with DB this June. And until then, keep questioning those scripts that we are handed all our lives about love, sex, and relationships, and keep rewriting your own. And if Rom-Com Vom made you rethink a movie, feel seen, or laugh, please leave a review on Apple Podcasts, drop a comment in Spotify. It helps more folks find the show. It means the world to us. Kate, thank you so much for being the perfect final guest to close out the season. Where can people find you and your work and Cramped?
Thank you so much for having me. I am so honored to be the finale guest on this prestigious institution. So you can find Cramped, which is a 10-episode season of podcast about my journey to find the causes of my severe period pain that I've had my whole adult life. And along the way, we discover all the reasons why period pain isn't taken seriously, and why having a microphone gets you more answers than having a uterus. You can find that anywhere you get your podcast. It's CRAMPED, Cramped. You can find me on Instagram at Kate Helen Downey, Downey with an E. And you can find me on TikTok at Kate is Cramped.
Love it. I love all of your stuff. And yeah, Cramped is such an amazing podcast. We are gonna have an episode on our feed very soon, so I'm excited about that.
Very excited.
And yeah, beautiful listeners, thank you for supporting me, supporting Rom-Com Vom, supporting Sex Ed with DB. I'm just about to hit my 8-year anniversary of doing Sex Ed with DB, which is so crazy and exciting. And so, yeah, I couldn't do this without you and with our amazing sponsors. So thank you so much for tuning in. And we will see you in a few short weeks. Bye. Our creator, host, and executive producer is me, Danielle Bezalel, aka DB. Our producer is Sadie Leegee. Our communications lead is Catherine Cohen. Our music theme is by Hook Sounds. Thanks so much to our featured guests, partners, and listeners. If you have a rom-com you remember from growing up and want us to cover it on Rom-Com Vom, submit it to us by leaving a review on Apple Podcasts and leaving a comment on Spotify. Want to partner with us? Email us at sexedwithdb@gmail.com. For more sex ed content, follow us on Instagram @sexedwithdbpodcast. See you next time.